Irashaimase! Hello and welcome to Fataris' Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Fataris. It's time once again for Shoot 'em Up Saturday, and on the menu this week we have Akka Arrh, an 80s arcade prototype reimagined. What kind of taste will it have? Let's get cooking and find out. From developer Llamasoft and publisher Atari, Akka Arrh released in February of 2023 to the PC via Steam, the Xbox, the PlayStation 4 and 5, and the Nintendo Switch. This title comes from the mind of Jeff Minter, who took this arcade prototype from the 80s and brought it to modern systems. Jeff Minter is the developer behind games like Tempest 2000, TKX, and Polybius. So if you're familiar with Llamasoft's works, you have an idea of what to expect here. This game is every bit as much of an experience in the sound and the visuals as it is just awesome and weird shoot 'em up. So it's one that I think is worth trying out, but it's different. So let's dive into the game itself, and you can see if this is something that you'd be interested in trying for yourself. So, starting the game, we find ourselves at this menu here. If you've played games like Tempest 2000 or TKX, you might have an idea of how this particular menu works. So you start on your intro stage, and then we've got stages that go up from there. You can start on any stage at your best start, but stages 0 through 4 count as a pure start, and this is important for both scoring and the way that the game is considered. And from 4 onward, or from 5 onward, you're restarting at just your best for that particular stage. It's also possible to change the difficulty at stage 4 from normal to hard. But for our purposes today, we'll keep it on normal, and we'll start on stage 1 rather than the intro, stage 0, the basics. Diving into the game itself, so we find ourselves on this little platform here. So we're playing the role of the goat head turret in the middle of the screen and a cursor. So we aim with the cursor, and the goat head will follow the cursor. We've got a couple abilities, and initially the first ability we have here is to launch a bomb. So the bomb launches to where the cursor's at and explodes into this geometric shockwave. Every normal enemy that shockwave touches blows up into their own geometric shockwave of the same shape, causing chains. As the chain progresses, we'll get more and more points as the chain increases the multiplier, the value that all the enemies destroyed subsequently are worth. In addition to that, we also have these nice words at the top: Mega Chain, lovely! And as they continue to go, Hyperchain, fab, and just stuff like that. Once again, if you've played Llamasoft's works before, that kind of stuff will seem fairly common and understandable, but this game itself is quite the trip. So, I haven't mentioned it earlier, but at this point, if you're photosensitive at all, it's probably best to take a pass on this game. It does have 2 modes you can turn on. So by pressing the start button, you're taken to this pause menu, and here we have the ability to change the dynamic color effects from subdued to normal. And normal, even the menus themselves are hard to read as everything is flashing, and really it's a if you think it's a visual trip at this point already, it gets even more so. But the game continues this way with its visual trippiness throughout the course of your gameplay. In addition to that, you've also got some really interesting music and sound bites playing throughout. So we're actually super efficient with our bomb on this stage, and bam, it's already like done with hole in one. So we got a wonderful score on that stage, and there you can kind of see what's going on when you complete a stage. You start the game with 16 pods, basically 16 life. And throughout the course of your gameplay, if you lose those, then you'll get closer to death. But it's also possible to recover those pods, and this stage kind of begins to teach us the mechanics to do so. So in this stage, we learn about our bullets. So it's possible to fire shots. Depending on what your control scheme is, you can have your bomb and your shots on the same button. So if you have shots, it'll fire the bullets. If you don't, it will fire the bombs. I do like to have those separate so we can actually kind of change up our gameplay there. But the shots themselves, the number of bullets we have, come from defeating enemies with bombs and the shockwaves. The more enemies defeat, the more bullets we have, and those bullets will be displayed above the cursor. However, some enemies can't be defeated by the shockwaves, like these little floating bombs here. They can only be defeated with the bullets. Any enemies you defeat during with your bullets will be worth the same points as enemies from the highest score reached from your shockwaves, rather. So it's something really important to note, that your combo will continue when firing bullets, unlike the bombs where your combo resets should you fire another bomb. And we've almost got all the basics down for Akka. There's one more major mechanic that we'll see here in the next tutorial stage. Just a few more enemies to take out, and oh, I did mention that there was a way to recover your pods, your life. If you happen to go and end a stage with more than 100 bullets, then you'll recover one pod, for every 100 bullets. And if you have carryover, so say we had 156 there, we would carry over 56 bullets to the next stage. So you kind of want to have a really good amount of bullets saved up. So use your shots sparingly, use your bombs sparingly, and try and make the biggest trippy visuals you possibly can. So this stage introduces us to the intrusion mechanic. So it's possible for enemies to approach the turret, and when they do, they come down to the basement. Here they'll be attacking our pods directly. So it's our job to come down here and defeat the enemies and save our pods. It's possible that we'll lose those, and if you do, then your combo is also reset. So we went and picked up this stage also introduces us to power-ups, and power-ups, in addition to having various effects, will also cause shockwaves, detonations on the surface as well. So it's one possible way to continue your combo without using additional bombs, so you're not resetting your multiplier. And with that, we basically have all the mechanics that the game has to offer. Throughout the course of, we'll start to see more difficult enemies, like these ones where when we destroy them, they fire a bullet that moves away from us, then comes back at us. Of course, getting hit with a bullet will cost us a pod, and also reset our combo as well. So we did lose a pod, but we had over 100 bullets, so we'd recover one. So this game is all about setting high scores, and throughout the course of your gameplay, you'll see your best scores represented, a delta, so basically kind of like your best score on that stage, the best score overall, and you're looking to just increase that particular combo. It's a fun challenge, and really kind of the meat of this kind of shoot 'em up. So all in all, there you have it. That's Akka served up for your enjoyment. So the game itself does have a total of 50 stages, so there's quite a bit of challenge here as things do start to ramp up quite quickly. And really, it's also just continues to go and be a crazy visual trip. So at least on my end, I can't really sit down and play it for too long before it just gets to be a little bit too much for my head. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. So as far as minus flavors are concerned, I do find that it's sometimes easy to lose the cursor, either in the chaos that's going on up top, or when you're moving from the top to the lower level to defend your pods. I sometimes lose where I'm at as far as the where I'm aiming, and that could be kind of detrimental to actually being able to defend your pods. There's also the problem that sometimes some of your later starts are really problematic. The highest levels I've gotten to, I've only had a couple of pods left, so you wouldn't really want to start with those pods, because if you make any mistakes at all, or start with that kind of a start, because if you make any mistakes at all, it's basically game over and you're having to redo it again. So having a setback further so you can actually progress is something that's you will be doing in this game. And well, it's not that like uncommon for a Llamasoft title, but something to keep in mind. But on the plus flavors, this is definitely a Llamasoft title. It's just pure psychedelic arcade bliss. So if you're looking for that kind of experience, then definitely this is one that I recommend giving a try. I do feel like the price point is just a touch on the high side, so do bear that in mind. You might want to wait for a sale, as I'm sure like there will be one, but at the end of the day, this is one that I can recommend, maybe just on sale. Alright, that'll wrap it up for this week's episode of Shoot 'em Up Saturday. As always, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.